Hello and welcome to Angry Andy Reviews. Now this is my review for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Who would have thought? 3 Guardians of the Galaxies movie. Remember when it was announced, Guardians of the Galaxy? We had Iron Man, we had Captain America, we had Thor, Incredible Hulk. Guardians of the Galaxy. Everyone went, who? And then we were given that trailer, I'm Star-Lord. Who? Played it brilliantly. And look at it now. Guardians of the Galaxy, arguably one of the most consistent sub-franchises of this Marvel machine that ceaselessly continues to run. And yet, like I said, it is one of the most consistent franchises, with the most lovable characters. Who would have thought that? And that brings us to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, a complete rounded film. It could arguably said this film carries some weighty emotion, some really dark, tragic elements. Obviously, the standard comedy that we've seen before, the standard characters, their interactions. But this film, for me, really does feel like the end of an era kind of film. And I'm thinking similar to sort of like Endgame kind of, ending, you know what I mean? You probably don't. But yeah, this does feel like, a complete circle film. At the end of an era, the end of a road. This is a film where, it could be perceived as being a jumping off point for a lot of people. And I understand that. And I feel that myself. I feel like I am that person on the motorway, the highway, the autobahn, whichever country you're from. And the exit's there, and I think I've taken the exit along with this film, along with these characters. But nevertheless, so this film is about, essentially, Rocket gets severely injured in a dust-up with a spectral being, a crazy golden warrior called Adam Warlock. He is almost fatally wounded, and yet the Guardians must scramble to find a solution to save him. Essentially, it's a hunt and fetch. It's a fetch quest. Film this. They have to find the cure and bring it back before all hell is broken loose. But alongside this, there is an evil villain called the High Evolutionary. Bizarre villain, absolutely, completely outlandish, ridiculous. Very, very sort of, I don't know, could you say C-list villain? I don't know. Mr. Brazier of Spider-Man and the Secret Wars will have to correct me on that. But we have a villain here who is determined to create the greatest, most perfect civilization there is, and he needs Rocket. He needs Rocket Raccoon in order to do that. And in amongst all this, we get flashbacks to Rocket's past. This is very much Rocket's movie. We get flashbacks to Rocket's past. We see his origin. We see, how he came to be the raccoon, the gun-toting, cigar-smoking raccoon that we know. And it plays on the heartstrings all the way through, possibly a bit too much at times. Possibly a bit too much. And yet, there is this influx of comedy, and then intensely dark and very ultra-serious moments permeating all over the place. It is a little bit inconsistent in places, especially regards handling and juggling all that. I will admit that. But this is still a film where the characters are 100% committed to doing what's right for each other. And it works. It works. Now, like I said, there are issues. I do feel like the comedy sort of diminishes the weight of some of the emotional moments, some of the heavy hitting moments. There's a lot of sort of connections and views towards animal cruelty, and depending on your sort of stance on, animals and pets and whatever, your connection to your own pets depends, I think, greatly on how you will react to this film, I think. if you're emotionally invested. Well, it's hard to sort of explain. If you're one of those that cries at, you know, animal movies like Homeward Bound and things like that, there may be elements in this film where you're gushing with tears. If you don't, then probably not. But there are some very heavy emotional moments that are, sadly, I think, really undone by just unnecessary comedy moments to try and lift the tension because, oh no, the fucking kids are watching as well, aren't they? So we really have to, say something funny, otherwise everyone's just going to be fucking crying and want to go home. And I do think that that seems to be, one of the things within this film. But I do think this is a really fun comedy caper adventure yet again. There's some moments there I'm like, you're dragging your heels a bit here. There's a moment where they go to a space station, a living space station. It looks fantastic, really well crafted. Is it necessary? No, not one bit. They spend far too long there in this 2.5 movie, faffing around, buggering up shit for no reason, just so we can see a few cameos, essentially. And I don't mean cameos from other Marvel characters. I'm talking cameos from directors, family, friends, you name it. It's just a fucking family showcase at this point. And we stay there for an inordinate amount of time, not doing very much, not really achieving very much, in order to get somewhere else. And it is almost like a planet hopping adventure, but it just takes a bit too long with certain moments. The film really sort of kicks into gear in the final third. We do sort of get some really superbly hypercharged action sequences. There is a sequence in a hallway, reminiscent of sort of like Daredevil hallway shots. Oh boy, there's that kind of excitement level. It's very violent, very violent. There's a lot of blood and guts and misery. How far they wanted to push it, I'm not sure, because obviously it is a family film as well. But we do see a lot of space creatures being severed in half, and it is miraculously entertaining. This film is a very solid, entertaining film, and for someone like me who has really sort of struggled with Marvel over the last 6-7 films and the last 4-5 TV shows, where I am losing count and I am losing interest in the wider story, this film brings it all in. There is no overarching look at other things going on in the Marvel Universe. There is no, we must put this reference in, we must say this, we must do that, we must have this character here doing this. There is none of that. Apart from Adam Warlock, there is none of that. This is a very singular, single-serving story that fits in pretty much with Guardians 2 and Guardians 1. Of course, Guardians 1 had, the Infinity Stones being mentioned and whatever. But this film is very much contained within itself, and it works to perfection for itself that it does that. It's not detrimentally oppressed by anything else. And of course, you'd say, well, this is a third film. Of course, it's going to feel like its own product. Granted. However, the quality of writing is there. The quality of understanding of characters is there. The quality of performance is there. Some of those three things, a lot of those elements, are windy as shit in other Marvel products over the last couple of years. But here, it's spot on. It works. It's not perfect, like I said. There are things that don't really sit well with me. There are things that don't really work in this film. It's inconsistent. It's choppy. It's a bit fucking messy in the middle. It drags its heels. However, what really makes this film work is that family orientation, that drive, the emotional impact, the emotional weight of these characters having to make choices that might well result in some of them not making it back. We do get a lot of that in this film, and it works because we're invested in these characters, we believe in these characters, we trust in these characters. To see them go through heavy moments really, really works for us as an audience, where it hasn't worked in other Marvel films. So, For me, given that there are things that don't really sit well for this film, but again, given that this is the only film, this is the only Marvel film I can honestly say since No Way Home that I have thoroughly enjoyed. From the beginning to the end. This is the only one. Take that as you will. I'm going to give this film a solid 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed this film. I've taken 1 point away for the middle portion of the film, which just kind of feels a bit choppy, a bit loose, a bit ragged around the edges. It's almost like they went, oh shit, we've bookended this film massively with some great moments. Oh, what do we do in the middle? Oh, we need to faff around. We need to figure something out. We need to try and solve a mystery that nobody really gives a shit about and can't remember at the end. But there you go. A 9 out of 10 film. And really, it really does feel like the end of an era. It really does. And I think, for me, it is the end of an era. I am not nearly as invested as I once was with the Marvel machine anymore. I'm really not. As such, I don't feel it necessary to, force myself to watch all of them anymore. I will go and see the ones that I do feel attached to, that I do feel invested. I'm looking forward to Deadpool 3, for example. I am looking forward to that. But other than that, and maybe Daredevil, God help you if you get that fucking wrong. Other than that, there's nothing really else that sort of resonates with me that I truly feel like I need to see. I wonder if anybody else feels like that. If you feel like that, please do leave a like on this video. If you leave a comment, in fact, leave a like on this video anyway, not if you just feel the same as me, but leave a like. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this film, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Let me know your thoughts on, the wider impact of Marvel recently. And yeah, one other thing, the music in this didn't really hit as well as previous films. But I'm not going to dwell on it too much because I didn't really, weirdly enough, I didn't really hear much of the soundtrack. It didn't really hit me, apart from Beastie Boys. Oh, Beastie Boys, oh god no. But yeah, there we go. I'm going to leave it right there. So a 9 out of 10 for the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. A jumping off point for many. I am leaving the Autobahn. And Marvel, good luck to you. I hope you do better. But James Gunn's gone. He's off to DC. He's fucked off. He's done Guardians and he's gone, ta-ra, cocker. I'll see you later. No issues. But there you go. Thank you very much for watching. Please do like this video and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment, like I said. I'm done rambling. Goodbye. Bye-bye.